Stories are one of the most powerful elements in the human psyche. This is what the famous Swiss psychologist Carl Jung says. Stories can activate components in the human psyche, and our lives can change forever by hearing them. The story of David and Goliath is not only one of the most well-known stories in the Bible, but it's also a timeless tale of triumph against adversity. It's a story that has been retold countless times throughout history in books, movies, and other forms of media, and it continues to inspire people of all ages and backgrounds. There is knowledge in the world that is very difficult for ordinary people to access. This is because, nowadays, most people grow up in a specific educational system and under a single upbringing. In this channel, we try to talk about knowledge that is not usually discussed in the educational system and normal books. Hidden secrets that sometimes you have to read ancient books and forbidden knowledge to find them. Subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon. David was born in Bethlehem, a town located in the southern part of Israel. He was the youngest of Jesse's 8 sons and was often tasked with tending to his father's sheep. It was during these quiet and solitary times in the fields that David developed a deep relationship with God. He would spend hours in prayer, singing songs of praise, and reflecting on the mysteries of God's creation. One day, the Philistines, who were longtime enemies of the Israelites, gathered for battle against the Israelite army. Goliath, a giant Philistine warrior, challenged the Israelites to send out a champion to fight him. Goliath was over 9 feet tall and was dressed in heavy armor. He carried a spear that was as thick as a weaver's beam and a sword that was as long as a man's arm. The Israelites were terrified of Goliath, and none of their soldiers dared to face him. That is until David's 3 older brothers joined the army, and David was sent to bring them supplies. When David arrived at the Israelite camp and heard Goliath's challenge, he was outraged. He could not believe that the Israelite army was allowing this giant of a man to taunt them day after day without taking any action. David went to King Saul and offered to fight Goliath. Saul was skeptical, as David was just a young boy, but David insisted. He told Saul that he had killed both a lion and a bear while tending to his father's sheep, and he was confident that God would protect him from Goliath. Saul agreed to let David fight Goliath but was concerned about David's lack of armor and weapons. He offered David his own armor and sword, but David declined, saying that he was not used to them. Instead, David picked up 5 smooth stones from a nearby stream and placed them in his shepherd's bag. He also took his sling, a simple weapon that he had used to protect his sheep from predators. When David approached Goliath, Goliath was insulted. He saw David, a young boy with no armor or weapons, and he thought the Israelites were mocking him. He roared with laughter and said to David, "Am I a dog that you come at me with sticks?" David was undaunted. He told Goliath that he was not fighting him alone, but rather he was fighting in the name of the Lord Almighty. David took a stone from his bag, placed it in his sling, and swung it around his head. He let go of the sling, and the stone flew straight and true, striking Goliath in the forehead. Goliath fell to the ground, and David ran up to him, pulled out Goliath's own sword, and cut off his head. The Philistines were stunned. Their champion warrior had been defeated by a young shepherd boy armed with nothing but a sling and a few stones. The Israelites were overjoyed, and they hailed David as a hero. David went on to become one of Israel's greatest kings. He united the tribes of Israel, defeated their enemies, and brought peace to the land. His victory over Goliath became a symbol of God's power and protection, and it continues to inspire people of all ages and backgrounds. The story of David and Goliath teaches us many important lessons. It shows us the power of faith, determination, and courage in the face of adversity. David was not intimidated by Goliath's size, strength, or experience. Instead, he trusted in God's plan for his life and believed that he could overcome any obstacle with God's help. Furthermore, the story of David and Goliath reminds us that sometimes the greatest victories come from the most unexpected places. David was just a young shepherd boy, but he had the faith and courage to take on the giant Goliath. He used his unique skills and experiences to defeat the enemy, showing that sometimes it's not about having the most advanced weapons or the most impressive resume, but about using what you have to the best of your abilities. Finally, the story of David and Goliath is a testament to the power of God's protection and provision. David's victory over Goliath was not just his own doing but rather a result of God's favor and blessing upon him. It was a reminder to the Israelites that even in the face of seemingly insurmountable challenges, they could trust in God's protection and provision for them. In conclusion, the story of David and Goliath is one of the most iconic and inspiring stories in the Bible. It teaches us valuable lessons about faith, determination, and courage and reminds us of the power of God's protection and provision in our lives. May we all draw inspiration from David's example and trust in God's plan for our lives, no matter how difficult the circumstances may seem. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more inspiring content.